I grew up in northeastern Iowa in a town named Decorah, and my family had a lake place actually in the Waterville area. And that's how I got familiar with Mankato campus. I was lucky in that some of the faculty that I had early on had instilled a notion that I had to push myself harder than I did in high school if I was going to achieve. One was Dr. Houston, who was in English, Mark Carson, who was in political science, Edith Barber, who was also in English. I got my first degree from MSU in 1979, and then I got a master's degree, and that was in clinical psychology, and then I went on to get a doctoral degree at the University of Utah. My wife, Kathy, is from Minnesota, and she really wanted to come back here and live. I started out more or less as a fill-in instructor for the first 2 years, and then was hired formally to be a member of the clinical psych program, where I served for many years up until recently switching to become the director of the PsyD program in school psychology. So it's been 26 years. It went very fast. I've had the opportunity to collaborate with people like Dan Sacco, who's former director of the IO program in psychology, Jeff Buchanan. More recently, I've co-authored articles with Kevin Filter, Sarah Cyphers, both colleagues of mine. When the changes occurred at the state level that allowed the state universities to get into doctoral training, at least to offer the applied degrees, it is something that we had spent so much time, I know, at least in psychology, talking about it, that it didn't seem like the massive step that it maybe could have seemed like. One of the things that we really wanted to do was to try to figure out a niche. We noted that there wasn't a lot of involvement in training in other countries. I had some familiarity with Belize as well as did Jules Nolan, our student. And so we were fortunate to get some very necessary help from some donors and put together a situation where we could keep the financial impact on our students fairly minimal. And then we decided that for 5 years we would do an international practicum in Belize, and it's worked out really, really well. The people down there are marvelous. It's been a safe environment. We have not had any kind of incidences so far, and the students come back with a knowledge base that's way different than what they get in the schools here. It is a really good experience as far as getting them ready to be good practitioners in the schools and be able to take on difficult situations head on. Minnesota State Mankato has really risen above the other institutions, and the program as a whole is going quite marvelously, so we're quite pleased.